The Dolomites. Tucked away in the northeast of Italy, this mountain range is home to some of the most breathtaking landscapes on Earth. Jagged peaks, towering cliffs, endless alpine trails. Among them, some of the toughest and most beautiful hikes you'll ever find. These are the Alta Vias, the Alpine highways. In June 2025, I set out to hike nearly 100 kilometers on one of the toughest, the Alta Via 2. It pushed me to my limits, brutal elevation, rugged terrain, and unpredictable weather, but it was unforgettable. This video is the story of that journey, what I saw, what I learned, and what I'd do differently. If you're planning your own adventure on the Alta Vias, or just want to experience it from afar, then this one's for you. Alright, so the Alta Via 2 is a through hike across the Italian Dolomites, starting in the northern town of Bressanone and finishing in Feltre in the south. It's a tough yet rewarding 160 kilometer trek, climbing over 11,800 meters of elevation. Most hikers take 11 to 14 days to complete it, but I didn't have that luxury. I had just 6 days before I was due to meet Alicia and start the Alta Via 1. Because of this, I had to flip the route, starting in the south at Feltre and aiming to reach the small alpine town of Ferrara by day 6. Made it to Feltre, just heading up into the town now just to grab a little coffee before I get out on the trail and officially start. As if this time crunch wasn't enough, I was hiking in mid-June, early in the season. That meant snow on the passes and some of the refugio huts still weren't even open. To make things trickier, regular buses weren't even running this time of year. And I'm just walking up to the main road in town just to see if I can get a taxi to get up the mountain to the start of the trail. Alright, so it seems as though my luck with a taxi is run out. Looks like I'm going to be starting the first 10 kilometers on foot, which pretty much follows this road all the way up to the first pass. After about an hour of hitchhiking, a friendly local offered me a ride up to the pass, where the official trailhead began. I grabbed a quick bite at the cafe, then set off into the unknown. Dense fog rolled in as I climbed into the first mountain section. It's absolutely stunning. We've just come up from that pine forest down there into this clearing. We're at about 1,600 meters above sea level, and as you can see, it's starting to open up and we're starting to get a glimpse of what the Dolomites actually look like. There's a refugio a little bit further up, so I'm going to check that out. I think it's closed, but I'm going to see if there's any water around so I can top up my water bottles. Just coming up to the first refugio in the next K or so. But as you can see, the fog or the cloud has well and truly set in. So the girls inside were kind enough to give me some water to fill up my Be-Free water bladder, and they also sold me a couple of bottles of water, so I have aqua. So yeah, I'm just gonna prep my dinner, which is a Radix meal. I think they're a New Zealand brand. They've got 31 grams of protein and 800 calories, so that's gonna be fantastic. I've got an Indian curry tonight. Once I've sorted this out, I might have a little bit now, but I'm just gonna save the rest for later on because I've still got another 2 or 3 hours of hiking. It's about 4 p.m. in the afternoon. We've just come up into this stunning valley just over that little pass beyond the refugio, and it's just, yeah, absolutely opened up. It's so nice and clear. It's pretty stunning. Feeling a bit better after some water, some electrolytes, and a quick bite to eat. And looks like we're just going to keep on trekking up into the Dolomites.
My goal was to get over the range and out of the park before dark, where I could find a legal place to wild camp. But that was easier said than done.
So it's about 7:30 in the evening and still going, unfortunately. Haven't found that much in the way of a wild camp spot, so just gonna keep going, and you know, worst comes to worst, I'll hike through the night a little bit until I get to the next refugio. But that's fine, you know, I'm more than happy to keep going. I am getting a bit tired, my legs are starting to feel it a bit, and I'm super hungry. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep going.
There were a few trails crossing the ridge and almost no flat ground to pitch a tent. Eventually, around 8 p.m, I found a marginally decent spot just outside the park boundary. It wasn't perfect, sloped, lumpy grass, but it would do.
It's a bit of a lumpy ground. It's definitely not even, but it'll have to do. It's about 8 o'clock. I think we're about 24 kilometers in total. So I'm just gonna get my bedding set up and I'm just gonna have some food and then go to bed, pretty much. I'm knackered. I wanna get up nice and early tomorrow. I wanna have a big day. I don't really wanna be finishing at 8 o'clock again. So yeah, I'm gonna hopefully have a good sleep and hopefully wake up to a nice clear morning and we'll get back out on the trail.
Honestly, most of the day was a sweaty uphill slog through pine forest. When I finally reached the mountains, I was greeted by fog, but still, I was stoked. I was out here, hiking in the Dolomites, and even with the exhaustion, it felt incredible. That night, lying on uneven ground, I was completely wrecked, but happy. Day 2 began with a push toward Refugio Boz, before attempting to cross Paso del Comodon. But, as you'll see, things didn't go quite to plan.
Another foggy day out here. It's about 6:30 a.m. Just gonna get this tent packed down. It is day 2 out on the trail on Alta Via 2. I'm about 3 kilometers into the day and I'm just coming up to a bit of incline, a bit of a pass that I'm about to go up. But it's been a good morning so far, a bit of a rough sleep to be honest, because I wasn't on the flattest ground, but still made do with that. Got up, had some brekkie, made a little coffee, and I've just been trekking on slowly ever since, feeling a little bit raw after the big day yesterday. I don't think today is going to be nearly as much incline. I think we'll be around 1,000 meters compared to the 1,700 to 1,800 that we did yesterday. So it's not often that you see water on the Alta Via too. So I think I'm gonna collect some in my be-free water filter.
As I descended down towards Boz, the fog finally began to lift. Sunlight broke through the clouds, revealing glimpses of the dramatic landscapes I'd missed the day before.
Well, just behind me here is the first glimpse of the mountains I've had in a long time. I've just been hiking in 2-3 meters of visibility through the cloud for the past 2-3 hours, getting super monotonous. But finally starting to get some decent views, which is really nice.
Refugio Boz is a remote alpine hut in the southern stretch of the trail, perched at 1,720 meters. It offers 34 beds and usually opens from mid-June to mid-September. With my schedule already under pressure, I grabbed a quick bite and hit the trail again, hoping to make it over Paso del Comodon before dark.
Had some spaghetti, had some polenta with some cheese and a creamy sauce, which was delicious. I think my body is just screaming out for calories at the moment, but that was very well received. So I've just started the incline, heading back up into the mountains. It's still a bit cloudy up towards the peaks. Down near the refugio, it was lovely. It was nice and sunny, I got some sun, dried my shoes. And yeah, it was just really good to have a bit of coffee and sit down and relax for a bit. It's not too often that you come across a nice running stream like that. Some clear, tasty water. So I'm about 12 kilometers off the next refugio. So I'm just making sure that I'm getting enough water in. So I do feel like I have a bit of a headache coming on. I can feel a bit dry in the mouth. It's a nice little valley. And that fog isn't going anywhere. Just stumbled upon the bivouac shelters at the top of this pass here. Just two big metal sheds by the look of it. Let's see if anyone's in there. There you go. That's the bivouac shelter. Well, that's pretty cool to see. And I guess good to know that these are up here if you're ever caught out in poor weather. But I've still got a bit more hiking in me yet. I'm gonna keep on going. I'm not 100% certain, but I think that's the pass that I have to go over now. Literally had no idea until that cloud sort of cleared up a bit. Oh, it's gonna be a pretty big push. All right, onwards. This may be the most nervous I've probably ever been to go over a pass, but it must be done. And I am ready to take on the challenge. Oh my word. That's the path going up there. Still going. Still getting up there. Bloody hell. Tell you what, it's not for the faint-hearted, this Alta Via 2.
But as I reached the pass, things quickly changed. The descent on the far side was steep, exposed and slick. Combined with strong winds and thick fog, it became clear it was too risky to continue. Reluctantly, I had to turn back. I aimed for the nearest bivouac shelter for the night, frustrated but safe.
So, I've actually had to turn around. I attempted to go down the other side of that pass, but it was just way too dangerous. So much scree and scrambling and descending down with a rucksack of my size and weight, solo, without any ropes, just didn't sit well with me. So I've turned around. I'm gonna head back to the bivouac shelter, camp there for the night.
The delay was a serious blow. With limited time to reach Ferrara by day 6, this setback made my original plan nearly impossible.
Well, I'm back here. I attempted to make that pass and go down the other side, but ultimately I think it was just going to be too dangerous. I think I'll spend the night here, I think. It's actually really frustrating and annoying because now it stuffs up my plans and I'm going to be running late and I'm going to have to make up the distance. So I'm going to have a look at all trails, see what my options are in terms of getting to a main road or a main town, and hopefully get a taxi over to the other side of that pass. Gonna get up nice and early tomorrow and go do a bit of scouting to see if any of those trails that are cutting west are viable. I don't have any reception here, so I can't do any research on it at the moment, which is annoying, but you know, that's the situation that I find myself in. So I'm sure it'll be fine. If those trails that I scout tomorrow are no good, and the passes are no good as well, then I'm just gonna have to go back to Refugio Bruno Boz, which is where I was today, where I had my lunch, and I'm gonna have to find my way into town through there. Yeah, that's where we are. I'm gonna have my dinner and then hit the hay, and then I'll get up nice and early and we'll get going. So I'll see you guys in the morning.
The next morning, I'd need to scout alternate trails, routes that could get me safely off the mountain and hopefully make up for this lost time. Alright, day 3. Just making a strong coffee. And then I'm going to get everything together and we're going to go explore some of those paths that sort of go over this range in a different direction compared to what we did yesterday and got stuck at. So hopefully these other ones are a little bit more manageable on the other side going down. I'll have a look. Worst case scenario, I'll have to come back down here and then go all the way back to Refugio Bruno Boz. Don't really want to do that. Don't really want to backtrack. But if it comes to it, I have to do it. So yeah, I mean, if it gets really bad and like I'm doing really poorly for time, I'll just have to get a taxi, go a bit further north and jump on the trail further up, further along. So yeah, that's just the way it is. Surprise, surprise, more fog. In the end, I couldn't find any safe or viable trails that led down into the valley from the far side of the mountain. That meant only one option: backtrack.
It's quite disappointing to come up to another pass where there doesn't seem to be any sort of viable option down. But it is what it is. It is annoying. I've lost quite a bit of time coming up here this morning. And I've got a big trek back all the way to the refugio.
I had to return to the same refugio I'd passed the day before and descended from there. It was a frustrating detour, a lot of time lost, and I was now well behind schedule.
We're back quite close to refugio Bus. Can't believe I went all that way and back. It's like a whole day gone and my legs are feeling it with a lot of incline. That's all right. Gotta go down. Hopefully they're still doing lunch. All right, so I have officially made a plan. I booked a bed at Refugio Caldena, which is about 2.5 hours away. So I'm gonna head down into this stunning valley, which is off the Alta Via 2 trail. Once I get there, I'll stay there tonight. And I'm gonna book a taxi to take me further along up into the Dolomites so I can join back up onto the trail. So we'll be skipping maybe 1 or 2 sections just to make up for the time that I've lost. But it's needed at this point if I'm gonna make it to Refugio Ferrara.
I had a new plan. I'd hike down into the valley towards Refugio Caldena, spend the night there, and then rejoin the Alta Via 2 further up the trail to make up for the lost time. Thankfully, the fog had cleared, the sun was out, the views were incredible, and the changes in scenery lifted my spirits.
Just descending down the mountain, it's much greener, as you can see, much more forested, the sun's out, it's actually quite warm, it's quite nice, it's a nice change for once.
I still had a long way to go if I wanted to reach Ferrara by day 6, but I was back on track, sort of. Refugio Caldena sits just off the Alta Via 2 in a peaceful valley at around 1250 metres. It's not part of the main route, but it's a great place to recharge. And for me, it offered something just as important: easy access to the road, which I'd need the next morning to reposition myself back onto the trail. Day 4 arrived with incredible weather, clear skies, warm sun, and perfect conditions for hiking. To save time and get back on schedule, I took a taxi up the trail to Paso Valles and rejoined the Alta Via 2 from there. My goal for the day was to reach Refugio Fuciade and speak with locals about the next major challenge, Paso del Sorelle. I'd heard reports that it was still snow covered, no surprise given how early in the season it was. To get there, I first had to cross the stunning Col Cavieta, a wide alpine tundra used as ski slopes in winter.
I'm back out on the trail. As I mentioned, I'm a little bit further north now. As you can see, it is cracking weather. It's absolutely stunning. It's warming up a little bit already. It's about 10 a.m. And the plan today is to go hike past San Pellegrino and head down into the valley on the other side of that mountain. It's a big change to what I've had over the past 3 days. Just absolutely beautiful weather and sunny skies. Can't see a cloud in the sky at all. But yeah, it is hot. My body is definitely feeling it a bit more fatigued, but still just absolutely stoked to be outside. Got this range coming up, which is the direction that I'm headed to. Got Refugio San Pellegrino, just another 2 kilometers down in the valley, and then we will start the trek up into that mountain range, which is the next section.
The terrain opened up beautifully before leading me down into the iconic San Pellegrino Pass, known for its mineral-rich mountain water. After a quick break, I began the climb out of the pass, heading back into the high country. The view on this stretch was nothing short of spectacular. As I neared Refugio Fusiade, I spoke with a few locals and hikers, and their message was clear. The pass ahead was still buried in snow and not safe to cross. It was a tough pill to swallow, and I didn't want to believe it until I saw it. I'd already made good ground today, but fatigue was setting in. The heat, the altitude, and the last 4 big days were catching up to me. So I'd made the call. I'd spend the night at Fusiade, rest up, and head out early the next morning to scout the pass and check the snow conditions for myself.
There you have it, guys. I am at Refugio Fusiade. Basically, I arrived and saw the pass and realised that it was going to be a huge undertaking, so I'm going to take the afternoon off, get a bit of R&R, go head out and sit in the sun and listen to a little podcast and have a coffee. My body isn't feeling great today. It's day 4 on the trail. First 3 days were pretty hectic, to be honest. So I'm just going to let my body relax a bit, hopefully feel a bit better tomorrow morning, and then I can go and tackle the pass. So yeah, it's a nice little spot here. Looks like they've got some good food downstairs, so I'll go check that out. And yeah, like I said, just relax, I think. I've got Alta Via 1 after I finish this hike as well with my partner, Alicia. So I want to make sure that I'm in good spirits for that as well, so I don't want to go too crazy.
That afternoon, I finally gave my body a break. Refueling, rehydrating, and laying out a plan of attack for what was shaping up to be a critical day in the mountains. Today was the day to tackle Passo del Sorelle, a high alpine pass sitting at nearly 2,700 metres, winding its way between some truly breathtaking peaks.
Good morning. It's day 5 here on Alta Via 2, and I'm just coming up to Passo Sorelle. Apologies about the pronunciation. It's a very daunting looking pass, but the scenery is incredible, as you can see behind me. It's another fantastic day out here in the Dolomites. Oh my God, this is just incredible up here. Just absolutely stunning. Just pulled up just below the beautiful pass behind me here. As you can see, it looks quite intimidating. Lovely Italian couple just walked past, and I had a quick chat with them, and they said there's still quite a bit of snow up there, which is kind of concerning. So there's a chance we'll get up there and may not be able to proceed. So still fingers crossed. I'm gonna go up and check it out for myself. Hopefully we can get through it. I've got some crampons in my bag. We've got the 2 poles as well, so
the climb up was no joke. At times, the incline hit a brutal 52% grade, according to all trails. With a full pack and camera gear, I had to pace myself. But honestly, with views like this, it was hard to complain.
It's tough going. Tell you what.
It was one of those days where being outside just felt perfect. Then I reached the top and the situation changed.
Alright, made it over the first pass. That was bloody tough. It was pretty steep at times as well. Just having a quick bite to eat, put on some more sunscreen. And then I've got to tackle this snow just behind me. So I'm going to get the micro spikes on, walk along and check it out. The Italians are a little bit further up ahead. But there's another pass to go, which is similar to what I've just done.
The entire pass was buried under snow. No trail in sight. And the next pass beyond it, even worse.
So just past those Italians again. They're heading back down that pass. They basically said the path further ahead is impossible. It's covered in snow. And it's even steeper than that pass that we just did. That was all scree. So I'm just gonna do a little scouting mission. Left my rucksack back there. Ooh. And just gonna check it out for myself to make sure that it really is not passable.
I stood there weighing it up. What's the risk to reward here? Crossing without a visible trail in early season snow with the potential for rockfall or avalanches just to say I did it? It wasn't worth it. Not for the story, not for the summit, not for my ego. So I turned back. Another pass, another redirection. And yeah, it stung. But looking back now, it was the right call.
Absolutely stunning, but definitely not passable with a big 10 or 11 kilo backpack on my shoulders. So looks like I won't be making it over this pass, at least not today. Still a bit of snow that needs to melt before this trail or this section of Alta Via 2 opens up, unfortunately. Very annoying, very frustrating. This is my second setback in terms of not being able to continue on over a certain pass. And that's what you get for coming too early in the season. That's fine. I'm gonna get my stuff. I'm gonna head back down the way I've come and figure out how I can skip this pass and get to the other side of the mountain.
Sometimes the mountain says, not today. And you've got to listen.
That was about 800 meters of elevation, maybe 7 or 8K. Dying for a drink, ran out of water on the way up. Go down to that stream and fill up the filter. And then figure out what the plan is, because I need to get over on the other side of this mountain, which has stopped me in my tracks. So I think just reflecting on that pass up on the top there, there was no path, and it just did not feel right. Plus, over on the second pass, it was quite vertical and there was a lot of snow on it. Plus, I don't want to be that guy who gets himself stuck and has to call mountain rescue and they have to send a helicopter out. That's just taking resources away from other people who potentially need it much more than I do.
I stopped at the Refugio on the way back down for a quick lunch, then descended towards San Pellegrino, where I'd meet a taxi to take me around the other side of the range. And that wrapped up day 5. I caught a taxi to Passo Pordoi, where I checked into Hotel Col Delana, right at the base of the iconic Sella Group. Tomorrow, I'd be heading straight into it. One of the most dramatic and legendary sections of the Alta Via 2. The Sella Group is known for 2 things: its jaw-dropping beauty and its brutal terrain. I'd heard this section was still buried in snow, but after several setbacks, I was determined not to turn back again. Good morning. So it is day 6 on the Alta Via 2. I'm currently in a little refugio just below the next section. The plan is to hopefully get over the pass this time. Hopefully there's not too much snow up on the top. Once I do, I will find a little wild camp spot up there. There are a couple refugios up there as well, but I believe they're closed at the moment.
Still just going up this side of the mountain. There's a fair few people up above me, but there looks like there's potentially a bit of hesitation at the little snow patch up there where it gets quite steep. Slowly getting across it.
The climb began slowly. Another steep ascent, this time through loose scree that made every step a grind. Eventually, I reached the top, a snow-covered plateau with panoramic views that made the effort feel worth it. This area was definitely more trafficked than the southern passes. Hikers dotted the trail to Pisboe, the popular summit nearby. That gave me a bit of confidence. But beyond that summit, heading across the plateau to the second pass, no one.
Up here on the pass, making good time. I think it's only 11 a.m. Spoke to some people in the refugio back there about whether or not you could get through, and they seem to think that you can. Not too sure if there was a miscommunication or not, but we're going to go check it out. There's quite a few people on the trail, which is reassuring. So yeah, promising signs so far.
Progress through the snow was slow and exhausting. At nearly 2,800 meters, the thin air started to wear on me. Still, I pressed on towards Refugio Boa, perched at 2,860 meters, to reassess my plan.
Lots of type 2 fun today. And I'll look back on this and I'll reminisce on it. But at the moment, I'm flagging. God, this is just an incredible section of the trail. There's still a bit of snow, but for the most part, it's not too deep. And there's already been a few trailblazers that have come through and set the path. Still probably not halfway over the pass, but slowly making it. Still got a good 9 hours of sunlight, so I'm in no rush at this point in time. Pretty barren up here. Not many other people. I just saw one hiker coming from the other directions. He said the conditions are pretty good, which is reassuring. You beauty. Just coming up to the first refugio. Let's see if there's anyone there. Just arrived at Refugio Boe, but it does not seem open, which is fair enough considering the time of the season and the fact that there's no one else around here. So I might put my feet up for a bit, make some lunch. My final destination, Refugio Ferrara, which is just on the other side of this mountain. So I think I'm maybe getting close to halfway over the pass, maybe just under. So it'll be a big push if I was to do it this afternoon. But yeah, I'm just gonna have some food and see how I feel, I think. Turkish falafel. Not bad. Actually had a really good time out there today. Hiking through the snow is actually quite fun when you've got 2 hiking poles and some microspikes. So yeah, it was good. I think I did a good from the bottom of the mountain all the way up here. It's probably 800-900 meters of ascent, and then probably between 8 and 10k or so. Come up to Refugio Boa. I'm just going to get out of the sun for a bit, have some food, rehydrate, make a plan as to what I do next.
After a quick stop, I made the call. I'd push on and scout the second half of the range.
Decided to crack on, keep on going and push over to the next refugio, which is just over this pass here behind me. So I've got to come down from here and then go back up and over. It's probably going to take me a couple of hours. Again, just sussing out what the trail's like as I go slowly. there's still footprints from the trailblazers who've come here through here first, so it's looking quite promising at the moment, which is good. So
that next section was completely isolating. No one else in sight. But thankfully, someone had gone before me, leaving a set of faint footprints in the snow that I could follow.
The helicopter literally just winched someone up. It's been buzzing around for the last 10-15 minutes, wasn't sure what it was doing. Alright, up on the other side of that pass. Just gonna peek over and see what the descent looks like. Alright, we're on the descent. Finally. Yes. There it is. Finally just coming out to the refugio down here. Thank goodness. I was getting stressed, but just looking on the map, the amount of decline, I thought it would all be covered in snow, but it turns out a lot of the snow has melted, and a lot of it is rock, so it should be a bit easier to get down. But yeah, that's a rewarding sight. Coming down from just up there in the pass was just ridiculously hard. So steep, just steep snow, steep scree, just very, very challenging. It's all nice and slow. And finally coming down, the refugio is up ahead. But I'm absolutely knackered. I know kilometres wise it hasn't been a huge day, but there's been quite a bit of elevation and a lot of slow going in the snow, which just absolutely saps your energy.
Eventually, I reached Refugio Franco at 2,580 metres. I was exhausted, but relieved. Descending off the plateau and out of the snow was a huge psychological win. This was one of the toughest days, physically and mentally. I second-guessed myself more than once, but I'd made it.
Honestly, I don't know how I've done that and come down from up there. It's pretty challenging. Lots of snow, lots of scree. Yeah, I can't say I would recommend doing it this early in the season. It's doable, especially if you've got a good footing and you've got some stamina, but it's just not fun with the snow. I mean, the first section was way back over on the pass at the first refugio leading up to that. It's quite enjoyable, but ever since after that, it was just a slog. I'm completely drained. I need to get some water and then put my feet up for a bit and have a snack.
Refugio Franco sits in a truly spectacular spot, nestled on the northern edge of the Sella Group, just beneath the towering cliffs I'd crossed.
Well, there you have it, the other side of the pass. We made it. By far, probably the most challenging day I've had so far on the Alta Via, and a fitting way to finish off my Alta Via journey, as tomorrow is my final day, and all I'll be doing is trekking down the mountain down to one of the refugios. I believe it's called Refugio Ferrara, where I'll be spending tomorrow night. So it's pretty stunning.
It was quiet, peaceful, and it would be my last night on the Alta Via 2. Tomorrow, I'd descend the mountain and then begin a whole new adventure, the Alta Via 1 with Alicia.
Honestly, such a stunning evening. It's about 8 p.m. here, and just getting some water, and I gotta cook up a little freeze-dried meal and get myself to bed because it is chilly. I'm exhausted after the day that I've had, and I've got a bit of a hairy descent tomorrow morning as well, so I want to make sure I'm feeling top-notch for that. And a fantastic way to finish off the main last section of my Alta Via 2 journey. So yeah, this place is just stunning. Well, this is it. This is the final morning on the AV2. Admiring the sights one last time and then I'll start heading down. There's 2 different tracks that I can take. There's the first one, which is the main Via Ferrata route, which I don't really want to take because it's quite icy as well and I don't have any Via Ferrata gear. So there's another trail just down here towards the east, which I'll go check out first and see if that's a little bit better.
If you're hiking without Via Ferrata gear, take Route 676, which branches east from the Refugio. It's a much safer option than the main Alta Via 2 trail to the west, which includes technical Ferrata sections not suitable without the proper equipment.
So instead of taking the main Alta Via 2 trail, which is a Via Ferrata, down to the bottom of a mountain, I'm actually taking the eastward trail, which is called number 676. Apparently it's a little bit less wild compared to that Via Ferrata. I went and had a look at the Via Ferrata yesterday before I set up camp and it was just all icy and pretty wild, to be honest. So just because I don't have the Via Ferrata gear, I'm going to take supposedly the easier way down. So
the descent was steep and shrouded in mist, but not as difficult as I'd expected. After the challenges of the previous day and a restless night in the thin alpine air, I was just glad to be heading down. As I made my way off the mountain, I couldn't help but reflect on the journey. The Alta Via 2 had been incredible. Raw, unpredictable, and absolutely unforgettable. Hiking in the early season meant I had the trail almost entirely to myself. 90% of the time I didn't see another soul. But that solitude had come at a cost. Snow-covered passes, closed huts, and more than one forced retreat. Would I recommend hiking this early to avoid the summer crowds of July and August? Honestly, probably not. Maybe late season, September, or even October would strike a better balance. Still, I feel lucky. This trail gave me both its beauty and its brutality. It tested me, reshaped my plans, and left me with some serious Type 2 fun memories I won't forget. Now it was time to rest, reset, and get ready for the next chapter, the Alta Via 1.
And I have made it down off the mountain after a pretty crazy 24 hours. And this brings me to the end of my Alta Via 2 journey. I just clocked in around, I think, 95 kilometers and nearly 6,000 meters of elevation. So it's been a big 6 days, and although I am sad to finish, the journey's not completely over just yet. I'll be starting Alta Via 1 in a couple of days' time with Alicia. Super excited for that. Can't wait to create another film for you guys on the Alta Via 1. But right now, I'm gonna get down to the restaurant that's at the end of this valley, get some food and reset and get ready for the next big hike. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this adventure, and I will see you on the Alta Via 1 in a couple of days' time.